Good morning, campers. Let's do another February love reading. Today's collective, as I open a channel, I started hearing because I was thinking, what's going on with love? We're gonna start from what's going on in love department for this collective. And I was hearing Slim Pickens, and I was seeing Four of Swords, but which is basically not, not much. But let's not, let's see. Love is not just about, when we talk about love and love readings, we don't necessarily have to be in relationships. Sometimes we're connected to someone and things are not happening. Sometimes we need to connect deeper to ourselves and love ourselves a little bit better. So let's just roll with it. Let's see actually what's going on, and then we see whether we're going to do more of a love reading or more of a, like, maybe your month of February. Let's see what's going on in the love department for this collective. Okay. One more. Okay, yeah. Okay, that kind of makes sense for what I was, sorry, what I was hearing. So we have confusion. That's your first card. Uncertain, unclear, unsure. So maybe, I'm actually sensing more than one energy around you. So maybe you're still somehow, I feel like there would be an ex relationships and an ex partner that you may still energetically, doesn't necessarily mean that you still love this person and want to be with this person. But things from a karmic perspective may not necessarily be closed just yet. And maybe there's someone else that is as well on your mind, because I'm kind of sensing two energies. We have the hammer, which is sabotage, rebuild, persisting, working on it, repairing. I was hearing with this one that there are certain things energetically that you're refusing to let go, that you're refusing. It's like you're insisting towards a specific direction. We have girl with a snake. That's in a center of your spread. More than anything, this card and this energy to me always means that there's not necessarily girl with a snake, right? But there is some sort of a low vibrational energy, third party energy that is influencing things. And we have healing heart and ship. So you would be healing your heart. Maybe this is why there's not much going on, because you're now in your healing era, in still healing from the past. Ship is moving on, so you would still be on some level connected to your past. Let's get more details. What's the confusion about? Hopeless, sinking despair, falling apart. So probably talking about love, you would be, I'm seeing someone rolling their eyes, so you would be rolling your eyes. So maybe you're in a moment of your life when you are confused if love is even something that you want. Maybe it brought a lot of heartache into your life. It brought a lot of trouble, a lot of despair. What you're insisting on. Okay, we have separation with the dragonfly. We have separation with the dragonfly. I'm hearing that there is something that you're insisting on, and there's something that you want to transform. I'm not seeing this. Usually I see this dragonfly as an internal change, internal shift, but I see this more. So maybe you are connecting to someone energetically that you're not actually in a relationship. You're not even sort of in a place. I'm hearing that you are to start a relationship, but you are insisting on it. It's something that you want to transform, maybe. Watching, looking, stalking. We're gonna do another row. I'm sorry. We have heartbreak at the bottom of the deck. Okay. All right, let's take a deep breath here. I feel you would be connected to two people. One being an ex-partner, someone that you already know that you want to move on from this person, someone that caused a lot of pain, someone that you would know at this point that is that was a karmic relationship. There's no turning point. Maybe there is a little confusion in terms of why you didn't see certain things, why you chose to even be with this person, but they would, I feel that this sinking despair, falling apart, it kind of as well links to them. So maybe they still cause a little, a lot of disruption within you, within your energy. So that's one person, a bit of a lower vibration energy. Maybe it's coming to my mind with those sunglasses. Maybe despite the fact that you separated, I feel like you would already be separated from this person. Maybe they are still watching you and keeping tabs on you and sort of observing your life. And when I was sort of rolling my eyes over, it's funny because look how thick this deck is. It's actually 2 decks, right? It's gonna be way over 100 cards in this deck. It's 2 decks, and because it's 2 decks that I joined, there are 2 Twin Flames cards in this deck, and I was seeing one at the bottom of the deck before, and I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, I hope it's not gonna be another collective that it's connecting to someone and they think that this is, that this is it, but the other one flew on a table. So this other person that you're connecting to, you would think that this is some sort of a destined person. You would label them as your twin flame. You would suspect that maybe this is your twin flame. And if you're watching this video, is for a reason, and if it's even the first time you're seeing me, I am a love reader. I'm a medium that I sort of teach people to navigate through karmic contracts and soul connections, what each connection is. We also are learning here to release the labels. But if it's the first time you're watching me, it's going to be the first time you hear me say that unfortunately in the BS New Age spirituality communities, this is one of the biggest misconceptions out there. 90% of people, 90% of information about twin flames online out there are completely false. And what they're actually talking about, they're talking about karmic catalysts. And 90% of people, in consequence, who think that they are on a twin flame connection are actually connected to a karmic catalyst, what we call a karmic catalyst. If all these things are resonating, if you go to my YouTube, I think there's a pinned video as well on my TikTok, but I've done a whole series about, it's going to be like more than 10 episodes, breaking down every characteristic in comparison, how it feels when it's karmic catalyst, how it feels when it's a twin flame connection. The karmic catalyst, different spiritual teachers call it different names. It's just labels. I've heard false flame. I've heard many things. It can equally be in a beautiful soul contract. Karmic doesn't mean, and I highlight this to you guys always, the word karmic doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just something that is a part of our life's contracts that we need to learn. They're actually going to guide us toward the right direction. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's evil and that it's low vibrational and that it's a bad person and that they, deliberately going to it only means that it's not soul connection, a deep soul connection, and it's not twin flame. And I feel that in my work, doing what I do, I find that, you know, so many people, because there's so much information, they desperately seek that, they want that, they think that and again, I feel the need to sort of stop and do a little disclaimer. So I will, if you're not seeing this me for the first time, you probably already know all these things. But this is not, first of all, this is something that not everyone has. It's a very, very rare journey. It's a very rare thing. Unfortunately, it became popular online specifically for a reason that I mentioned, that people are confusing this with a karmic catalyst type of connection. Twin flame connection is something that only a fraction of 1% of souls incarnating on earth actually have. Those are souls that decided to go deeper on the separation from source, deeper, one level deeper, to split themselves into two and experience this human life from that perspective. And it's not a love story, it's not the other half of me, everything that's soulmate, this is something that is turning. When you are activated, you actually meet your twin flame and you get activated to this journey. It is a deep spiritual awakening, is a kundalini awakening, is putting you on a path of a life of purpose. It's not about the love story. The love story is just a byproduct that the moment it happens, it kind of becomes a bit irrelevant to you. It's a deep purpose. It's souls that chose to play this game from a perspective of, I want to make a change, I want to be a spiritual teacher, I want to walk the path of Christ consciousness. This is not just a passionate romance. Deeply, deeply misunderstood. And some people will think that this is it, and some people will be ready to understand it's not, and some people, in the end of their days, they're gonna call their karmic catalyst their twin flames, and they're freaking gonna, you know, leave this earth thinking that this was it. And again, life is the art of choices, right? But if you found this video, it may be for a reason. And because we have this on top of the healing heart and ecstasy, what we do here is shadow work, right? I'm a shadow worker. When you sign up for a session with me, I read your energy, we tap into your energy to connect to the shadows. So parts of your shadows are just, it's not good and evil. It's just parts of your psyche that you've rejected and you put into your subconscious mind, right? So we want to bring them forth, we want to understand them, give them love. And a full integration is and a self-love of all parts of self. It's what happens through shadow work. And because we have this ecstasy, what I'm hearing, that perhaps you are someone that you, whether you know it or not, try to really feel into what I'm talking about, because they're showing me images and I'm hearing things, but I want to really translate this to you in the right way. I don't necessarily want to say that it's a trait of yours that's been repeating itself for a long time, but I feel that what may be happening here, that this heartbreak is quite difficult and quite painful and quite disappointing. Maybe some very painful and low vibrational things happened in your past relationship. Maybe it was difficult for you to move away from that. And I feel this new person is bringing the excitement, is bringing the thrill, is bringing the hope, of good time, of true love, of still, you know, having those things in your life. And that is exactly the purpose of Karmic Catalyst. Karmic Catalyst, if you'll learn more if you watch that series that I've done. But Karmic Catalysts are souls that we have a soul contract with, that will enter our life in the moment of deep despair, in the moment exactly of exiting usually long, painful karmic relationships that we had to go through to learn certain lessons in life. And our soul knew that because of the conditioning and the world that we live in, we may struggle a little bit to leave those relationships, to heal from those relationships. So we either are gonna, continue to stay looking for excuses because I don't want to be alone, because we have kids, whatever excuse that is, you're gonna choose to stay in that karmic, hurtful, often abusive relationship, or maybe you will leave, but you will turn into someone who is very bitter, who doesn't really understand what is love, who doesn't really understand why these things happen to me. And this is why we sometimes have those soul contracts with our karmic catalysts to help us sort of move on from that situation. Let's do another row. I feel this is going to be a guidance for the chaser. We have the chaser. Chasing codependencies, confusion. So you would be now in that chaser energy, whether you realize that or not. I've done a couple of videos about this recently, so it may help you. But runner and chaser, again, it's an illusion, it's a misconception when people talk about runner and chaser in context of twin flames. It's always a distortion. Whoever is the runner, whoever is the chasers, whoever is the anxious, whoever is the avoidant. First of all, it's not something that just happens in twin flames connections. It's something that happens in whenever we have two wounded people. It doesn't matter what kind of a soul bond they have. And it's always a distortion on both ends. But you would be somehow, whether that's energetically or despite of the confusion, you would be wanting to chase this relationship, this connection. It's not really a relationship. Second chance. You know what I'm actually hearing, because we have that separation. I was hearing two things. Remember, I've mentioned that you would be wanting to turn this other relationship into something because you're currently in separation, you're insisting. But I was also hearing that it may be an energy towards this other person. It's just that I wasn't sure whether on whose side it is. So let me explain. What I'm hearing now with the second chance is that there's a reason I mention that oftentimes karmic catalyst pops up in our life when we struggle to leave a relationship, right? And there's so many reasons that people struggle to leave a relationship that is not happy, that is not for your highest good, right? And all of these reasons are rooted in conditioning. So sometimes it may be cultural conditioning or even family conditioning, you thinking that you cannot get a divorce or they cannot separate from your life partner once you've taken a decision, and once you have children, that you're a bad person leaving and stepping away. Sometimes it may be conditioning linking to that maybe you are at a certain age that you don't want to be on your own, you don't want to be alone, you no longer feel, you don't feel empowered to be on your own in life, or you feel like you're gonna be, people gonna pet you, that you're a divorcee, and that you're not gonna find anything in life, that you're already this very misogynistic approach. And believe that you're expired, that at this age people are already in relationships, especially in certain cultures where the conditioning of the divorce is very strong, so people really don't take this decision lightly, and at certain age there really isn't many people who are single and available. So whatever that is, I feel like you've given a lot of second chances to this relationship. And I'm hearing as well, which may be a case for some of you, that maybe you were wanting to give second chances for a very long time, and the moment you said no, this is where your ex-partner started to insist on that second chance, on the reconciliation, and on giving another opportunity. And it's such a cliche, but it happens so often in relationships when you talk about how men and women approach relationships, and it's something that perhaps men should understand a little bit more. Us women, obviously, because we're feminists, it doesn't really matter whether you're in your distorted energy on your or your divine energy, wherever you are on this spectrum. Women, we have more tendency towards the devotion, towards really committing ourselves to a relationship, really giving our whole heart, which is funny because it's actually a trait of a divine masculine, to commit, to devote, and to give the whole heart. But we have the tendency to want to be the builders of the relationship, of the family. So women have this quality that when things start not to work out and not to break, and it's also related to the distortion in the feminine and masculine energy in the society, that women are more in their masculine energy without them knowing, because it is the masculine energy that is the builder, that is the structure creator, that is the again, devotion, the commitment. Women should be more connected to the right thing, to the value, to whether that thing has point, merit, and spirit in it, right? Through the chaos of change that we create. But the world that we live in, it is what it is, and women have the tendency to want to insist, to want to rebuild, to want to persist. It's also the mentality of, once I put myself in it, I'm not just going to quit. We already have a family, we've already been together, right? It's again the distortion of our way of thinking. Whereas men, they connect to problems and emotions in a different way, in a more of a, right? So sometimes they have more tendency to ignore things, to sweat things under a rug. So it happens very often that when a relationship faces some sort of a trouble, some sort of a distortion, some sort of a challenge, it's the woman that instead of going to her femininity, does this serve me? Is this in line with my self-love, self-worth? They drop into that wounded space and they try to insist and fix, right? And they do that sometimes for years on end. And the moment comes that they're faced with a wall energetically from a side of a man who does not know how to be vulnerable, how to talk, how to open up. And at one point we break. And when we break, we leave. And when we leave, when we take that decision, usually there's no turning back, because we've tried for too long, for too hard. And that's the moment that when they see us leave, they finally realize that what the hell is going on here, maybe now, right? So it's a bit of a cliche situation, but I was hearing that, so maybe it happened in your situation. And oftentimes, again, people tend to think that, as humanity overall, we have this tendency to think that we're a center of the universe, right? And what we don't logically understand and what's not happening here on earth, it must be non-existent. And similarly, as individuals, we tend to think that our stories are so unique. No one ever went through that. But this situation that I just described to you, it's such a cliche. It's such a cliche. It's a situation where, and our soul knows this. This is why certain karmic contracts are in place to help you go towards the right direction. So the cliche situation is that you put yourself in a karmic relationship, long-term partnership, marriage. It had to happen because there's a lesson for your soul in this relationship. So you had to enter this relationship, right? And the moment comes that for your greatest good, you're ready to let go. So universe orchestrates situations for you to leave this person, to break up. And then oftentimes, because of the woundings and the distorted feminine energy, the feminine insists and insists and insists through cycle and cycle and cycle. She wants to repair because she committed, right? And the moment comes that you're seeing that despite of all your efforts, all the attempts, all the ideas, all the, however you want to try to mend this relationship, you're faced with a wall from the energy of the man, right? So you find okay, well, it's not working out, so what else I can do? I'm gonna leave. So you either leave or you start talking about leaving. And again, cliche situation, this is usually when that man wakes up and shit, she's actually gonna leave. I never thought she would leave me. I thought she was just blabbing, because the distorted man, he's not present. He's not listening to what woman is saying, to what emotions she is trying to explain that she's feeling to him, right? So he finally wakes up. And then he is the one that wants that second chance. And oftentimes in that moment, if this is not for our greatest good and our highest timeline, destined timeline, to go back again and give that second chance, a karmic catalyst that many women confuse with a twin flame is put on our path to give us hope, love, thrill. There is something, there is true destined connection. I feel to this man that I've met yesterday so much more that I feel for this man that I've been with for 10 years. And it gives you the push to leave because you're meant to leave. But this doesn't mean that this other person is your destined connection. Again, like I said, many women, come to me on sessions, and again, some are ready and accept that with receptiveness because they want to grow and they want to learn. Some, they're not, so they stick to this idea for years on end. And there are many ways that I explain to them, how do you know that a woman really was awakened through it? Because your divine counterpart, your twin flame, awakens you to the truth of life. So how to know that this is really it? Out of so many things that I've mentioned in this series that you can watch, if you're interested, the biggest thing is from the moment you met this person, first of all, almost immediately your kundalini awakens. So you start seeing beyond the veil. You move beyond the veil. So you start hearing things, seeing things, feeling things not from this world, right? Our gifts are being activated. Our gifts as a multidimensional being that is not just human of this world. Suddenly we see the whole universe. That's the first indication. But the second one, if you met this person months ago, years ago, true divine feminine on a twin flame connection, we turn into spiritual teachers. We turn into divine feminines. We walk the path of transformation because our divine counterpart awakens us. He's not just meant to give us love and have this amazing, thrilling relationship and leave our ex-partner. He is meant to awaken us to the truth of life, to the truth of our existence. We become mediums, shamans, medicine women, spiritual teachers. The normal life as you knew it ceases to exist. And one of the biggest misconceptions that is out there about this connection is that when people bottom line this to you and explain, they say that oftentimes it happens that when a woman is exiting a long relationship, bam, then he comes in. It's a lie. And I'm going to explain to you this difference. In an actual true twin flame connection, when we are meant to be activated by our twin, it's a divinely orchestrated situation. It's written in the stars exactly when and how we're going to meet. Yes, it's true that many women, prior to that event, we were in a long-term karmic relationship that was meant to teach us a lot about ourselves and about love and relationships and meaning of life. But the moment you meet your twin flame, the decision has already been taken. There is no opportunity for that. It is not this person that makes you not want to give another chance to your ex-partner. That is already sealed. That is long forgotten. He may energetically still be around. Sometimes it happens that you haven't yet, let's say, signed a divorce or agreed on the custody, or there's certain things that maybe he's watching you, he's still keeping tabs on you. But on your end, even if this person did not exist, not in this lifetime, not ever. That is closed. No second chances. And the difference with the karmic connections is that it's difficult sometimes to talk about these things because many women don't realize that, right? Many women would say, I wouldn't come back to him. A lie. If it haven't been for the karmic catalyst that you're calling your twin flame, you would probably consider for the sake of the family, for the sake of the kids, for the sake of not being alone, for giving it a second chance, you will probably give this man a second chance, or a 20th chance, however many chance, right? It's this person that stops the pattern. That's what we